November 20th. What have you got for us? Scorpio new moon is what it's got for us. So we ended off the 19th with this insane energy of 29 degrees of Scorpio meeting up with a Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus, both retrograding, meeting up in an opposition, in a tug of war. So mindsets that we need to look at, deceitful information that we found out in relation to stability, money, epiphanies about money, epiphanies about stability. This battle energy. I know what I fucking know. I've known it for the last 8 years. No, you don't. Here's some secrets you don't know. Then let's move that inner mentality. You're holding on to things from the ancestors. You've got 160 years worth of information you still think is truth, and no, it's not. Right? Then, so that last aspect on the 19th happened at 11:21 p.m. Then this is the first one we get, this biquintal with Chiron, Mercury at 29 degrees of Scorpio as part of its retrograde, Chiron at 23 degrees of Aries as part of its retrograde, and a biquintal saying, let it fucking go. Let go of the mentalities that you are holding on to, that you built from a childhood wound, right? Let go of anything that is stopping you from speaking your truth. Anything that stops you from being your authentic self and showing up that way and communicating from a deep place of truth, right? We want to be looking back. Mercury was at 29 degrees of Scorpio before it moved into Sag. That would have been about the 28th, 29th of October. What happened for you around then? What happened for you around then that you are now starting to revise, that maybe you shouldn't have dealt with, that maybe you should have spoken up about, that maybe you got a little kind of tingle in the intuition of something that wasn't right? Okay, that's the energy we're kind of in. And so biquintal says, let it fucking go. Let go of this belief that you have from a childhood wound. Let it go. Once you've let it go, we can then start putting some stuff into order. We can start organizing some things. We can start really understanding the idea of cause and effect when it comes to your truth, when it comes to understanding your deep emotions and how they might impact your ability to be authentic, right? Trust people enough to be authentic. And then we get this compromise energy as the moon shifts into 23 degrees of Scorpio, which is the Aquarius degree. So what is it about your authenticity and the deep feelings related to it? How do they talk to each other? And how could this place of like maybe not trusting people with your feelings, maybe not knowing how to communicate your feelings, how is that kind of controlled or got some kind of control from a childhood wound around those things that have stopped you from feeling like it's safe for you to be yourself? And then we get this trine to Jupiter at 25 degrees. And this day is watery as fuck, right? The only thing in this day that's not water is fire. We've got a Uranus in Taurus, which is a little bit fucking stubborn, but you're retrograding. So where's this guy? I want to be able to roll down. Is it this one? Here we go. Right, so that's the last one. Okay, so the trine to Jupiter, 25 degrees, Aries degree, your I am energy, okay? So what is your secret internally? What's the taboo thing? What's the shady thing in the dark? Where is your emotional needs and desires, right? Now, when we look at this trine aspect, oh, hello. We want some kind of harmonious flow between these two energies, right? So we want your emotions, your deep, dark, very deeply felt emotions. We want to understand those in harmony or in cooperation or combined with your idea of family and safety and nurturing. And through that expanded energy of like either looking at your ancestors or looking at it from a third party perspective, not from your in the middle of it, childhood traumatized version of what you see your family as, okay? And this trine is trying to find the untapped ability here. Where is the untapped ability in Scorpio and Cancer for you? Where does that sit in your chart? Where is the untapped ability from being able to tap into the ancestors of your family and pull that truth forward? What does that give you? And then we move down into that next one because the moon is also going to be trining the Saturn retrograde. So Jupiter retrograding, Saturn is retrograding, and then we are conjunct with Lilith. And then we get the fucking moon, the new moon. So the trine to Saturn, that's where we've like, okay, so I've looked at the perspective of the family and the secrets in the family and how that's affected my safety and how that affects my security and why I'm not showing up. And then the trine to Saturn is like, well, fucking make your own rules, okay? Now that trine to Saturn, because it's retrograding, that could be calling back on the last 3 years when you were given an opportunity to change your inner discipline system, your inner judgment system, to put down your own rules, to put down your boundaries. And you didn't do it. And so now you're getting another opportunity to do it. And Saturn will only have, 8 days before he goes direct. So we're like putting these things into place. And once he goes direct, we're going to start feeling whether or not those things were correct for us. Okay. Now, this conjunction to Lilith at 26 degrees, that is a Taurus degree. Okay. And that's wanting stability, but it needs you to understand that that stability only comes from being able to accept, embody, understand that Scorpio component, right? Death and rebirth, right? The mystical energy, deep creativity, reproductive system energy, sexual energy, okay? All of the things related to Scorpio. And then if you think about, where are we? We've got the moon in Scorpio, who is ruled by Pluto and Mars. So Pluto is in Aquarius and Mars is in Sag. So we get the electricity and we get the fire. And then we've got the same thing down there, right? So we've got this Taurus degree, we've got a little bit of fire from the Mars in Sag, and we've got this authenticity of going on this fucking journey, right? With Pluto in Aquarius as well. So how are you motivating yourself towards your new journey? Are you understanding and integrating any kind of repressed anger, any kind of repressed sexual energy that you may have dealt with throughout your life? Are you finding stability in that? For some of you, being that this is at a Taurus degree, this is going to be showing you where your raw primal fucking energy and your sexual energy can turn into fucking money. Okay. If you've got Scorpio in a second house, in a 10th house, these kind of energies are showing you where something related to a trauma or to something you feel guilty about or something you felt shameful about or something that you don't trust other people with, how that can be made to give you some form of stability. Okay. And then depending on where it all sits and what it's aspecting in your chart, like how that's going to come in. All right. This is why you need an astrologer to look at your fucking shit. And this is why I recommend that people get a birth chart reading and then either learn to interpret daily energy or interpret big energies, which, don't worry, I will be running some lectures on that soon. And or just get something like one of my memberships, right? My Shadow Witch membership, which I will just send you a video at the end of the month, right? Last week of the month. And I'll have your birth chart and I'll go, these are the things that are going to fuck you up. And if you're on the Shadow Witch, you'll get, these are the things that are going to fuck you up. And here's what I think you should do about it to best use the energy. And you get a copy of the journal. So you can kind of like see what all these aspects are coming up, right? So everybody needs something like that now, some kind of spiritual and emotional habit that we are checking in with every day, that we can use this energy is so fucking powerful and it's all once in a lifetime. And if you aren't using it, it's using you or it's forcing something. Okay. So the conjunction to Lilith, and this is this whole fucking day, this whole, like the fact that it's the 20th, which is about transformation. November is the 11th month. 11 is about transformation. 2025 is a 9. Almost to the new thing, right? So we are transforming something because we are almost in the 10 year, in the 1 year, whichever way you want to look at it, right? The end and the beginning is next year. So this day, incredibly powerful for releasing, incredibly powerful for planting seeds to transform your life. Depending on where Scorpio sits, focus in on the Scorpio. The Taurus also needs to be focused on as well, because a lot of this Scorpio energy will be opposing all of the Taurus energies, somewhat exact or very close to, meaning that like your external idea of abundance and money and how you make money and stability is in a tug of war with this need to go deep, to find a secret, to really embody that Scorpio, burn it to the ground, death and rebirth ideal. So as you can see, this energy, like the whole thing from 11:23, I mean, for the whole thing until the end of the day, fantastic energy for clarity because we've got a Mercury Cazimi happening. Fantastic energy for really connecting with your ancestors because we've got a Mercury Cazimi. It's happening in Scorpio. We've also got that Mercury is going to conjunct the sun, right? So they're going to have sun shone in there. The Mercury is going to conjunct the moon at 28 degrees, the Cancer degree, the family degree, right? Cancer rules the 4th house, which is about ancestral energy. So we're at 10 minutes and where are we? Like middle of the day, right? So 2:29 p.m., the conjunction to Lilith, it's asking for you to really understand that a new force is being created here when we accept both the moon emotions, right? So the emotions that we can understand and see and that we sometimes show people. I would say all the time show people, but some of us don't, right? So the moon, your non-negotiable emotional needs and desires. Excuse me, miss. She liked this video. It's very witchy, I guess. And then Lilith, the dark moon, the emotions we don't show people, the emotions we are shameful of, the emotions we are guilty of. And the conjunction says you need both of these things to create a new force of energy. Manifesting from that place, very fucking powerful. Then we get here, 5:47 p.m. This is the new moon happening at 28 degrees, the Cancer degree. And what's happening with Cancer right now? Well, Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon is at 28 degrees of Scorpio. Right? 28 degrees, the Cancer degree. What's Cancer doing? What's Cancer going to be doing at this time? Well, Jupiter is in Cancer, making a retrograde. So it is really revising some of the things that we've put into place or that we've started to see in regards to family since the start of June, right? So what have you been doing since the start of June in relation to that energy? That's going to have a component in here as well. Where have you released shame from since June? Where have you noticed where shame has come from since the start of June? And so this aspect, right before we get the new moon, it's providing this stable base, if we want to lean into it. It's providing a stable base for us to be able to nurture ourselves and heal ourselves from these wounds so that we can rise again as a fucking phoenix, Scorpio energy. Okay. I'm just trying to look at what house this Scorpio energy will be happening in. So the moon, 5:47 p.m. I forgot I could do this. So let's have a look. Sorry, I should have prepared earlier. But the ADHD doesn't allow that, does it? Okay, so the Scorpio energy is going to be so 5:47 p.m. This is Melbourne time. The moon is going to be in the 8th house, in the house of transformation. It's going to be there with the sun in the house of transformation, with Mercury in the house of transformation. It's going to be there with the vertex, which is a fated moment in time, which is at 8 degrees, the transformation moment. And Mars is going to be at 11 degrees, which is an Aquarius degree. And they're all in the 8th house. Lilith and Venus will both be in Scorpio, but they are sitting in the 7th house. So they're looking at the relationship side of things and the guilt and the shame that you've carried with you from relationships. And we are transforming that through this 8th house, through taking action, through speaking up, through nurturing our communication about our darkness, through really facing this fated moment in time of like, are you going to continue to hold back some of this darkness? All right. That's huge. That's huge. It's going to be really asking you about how you allow yourself to have fun, about how you allow yourself friendships, about the sort of friendships that you want to have come in the future. It's going to bring into it any kind of trauma around that, trauma related to lack of boundaries in friendships and like what your future looks like. It's powerful is not the word for this moon. Okay. Then the moon conjuncts Mercury, obviously. So that whole thing is they're all conjunct. The sun, the moon, and Mercury are all conjunct. And even though we're in a Mercury retrograde, okay, this still provides clarity, but it is providing clarity for something that's already passed, right? The retrograde. So something like I was saying, when the moon was at these degrees, which was the last week in October. Okay. When Mercury was at these degrees, which is the last week in October. So what was coming up for you at the last week of October that this is now bringing clarity to? Okay. This is transforming something for you. So 8:16 p.m., we need to let go of something from the childhood wound. Okay. Now this is going to feel like a bit of a fucking crisis because the moon will be void. It's going to go void with that conjunction to Mercury. Okay. And then yeah, so we're given this space to be able to really revise, right? So looking at the last week in October, really trying to understand what we might have missed within that space, okay? And getting some fucking clarity on it and really understanding what it means, right? And then we are fucking moving forward if we can let go of something from the childhood wound, right? So this is where you get this moment of clarity, there's a moment of letting go. And then the sun conjuncts Mercury, Mercury fucking Kazemi. In a Mercury retrograde at 28 degrees on a new moon. Like, insane. A Mercury Kazemi is when the sun gives us light into this space, right? The fact that Scorpio is darkness and we get the sun coming in at this massive, powerful moment, you will have an epiphany about something. You will understand something. Something is coming toward you, depending on where this energy is sitting for you. Okay. This is likely to involve a lot of things in relation to your family, your mother, your ancestors, your home, your security or lack of security within your home growing up. How you like mother traumas, huge right now. Okay. Then the moon, 29 degrees of Scorpio. Oh no, this is when it goes void. This is my apologies. This moon will go void with that opposition to Uranus. So we get this Mercury Kazemi, well, Mercury retrograde Kazemi, very interesting. And that's allowing us to really revise clear point of view. Okay. Then now this is not the time to make the fucking decisions. This is the time to gather the information. We're not making the fucking decisions while Mercury is retrograde. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Collect your information, make a plan. Don't step into the decision because Mercury retrograde, the moon about to go void, it being a dark moon, there are things we can't see. Even though we have moments of clarity, there's pieces we're not going to be able to see. Moon trines Neptune, okay, my 29 degree Pisces people, this is huge. This energy from 8:30, I mean, really, like I said, from all day, but particularly when we get to the 29 degrees after that Mercury Kazemi, you have a direct communication with your fucking ancestors. Okay. So this 8:23, the moon in Scorpio at 29 degrees, Neptune retrograding in Pisces at 29 degrees for the last time in our lives for 160 years. What are you going to let die? What are you going to sacrifice? Scorpio is about death and rebirth. Scorpio understands that rebirth comes from death, that death isn't the end, rebirth comes next. So what ancestral trauma are you going to let die? What are you going to leave behind? What are you going to grow the new version of you from? How are you going to start? How are you planting the seeds? What seeds are you planting? And what are you leaving behind? The opposition to Uranus, which is also retrograding for the last time in our lives in Taurus, because that's an 84-year cycle. So the opposition to Uranus is causing this tug of war, this idea of needing balance, okay? Scorpio, Taurus, obviously on the same axis of possession, it needs balance as well. The moon and Uranus, right? Uranus is sudden change, epiphany, pivot, evolution. The moon is emotions. It's a bit more slow moving, right? So there is this tug of war between needing to understand this idea of slow moving emotional depth, Scorpio energy, so mysticism as well, and Uranus in Taurus retrograding, what you think to be true because of what the material world has told you, right? Scorpio is about long-term and investment, and Taurus is about the daily grind, right? You need both of those things. You also need the ability to transform, okay, which is what Scorpio and Uranus are about, this idea of transforming. So an opposition wants you to be able to find balance here, to not fight for dominance, but for find a way to embrace both of these qualities, to find a way to do the daily grind, but leading to something that you're investing in, to be able to have security within your emotions, but be able to pivot from a point of inner stability, right? Because you don't have stability unless you have inner stability, and you don't have inner stability unless you feel stable in the outside world most of the time, especially right now in the world. So it's about having the inner stability so the world can't shake you, and it's about when the world shakes you, having an inner stability to be able to save yourself, right? Nurture yourself. So massively powerful energy, massively powerful energy. I'm going to do another video on this, I think, because this is absolutely insane. But the witches, this day is for you. Take it off. Call in sick to work. This is a religious holiday for witches. Okay. One more thing. I'm having a group therapy / mini readings thing if you're interested. If you've made it this far in the video, you might be interested. If you're already a Shadow Witch member, you will get it at that discounted rate. Just use your discount code from the exclusive members page on my website. And if you're if you're not and you still want to take part, it's only $22, but you will need to book a place because I'm not taking many people. It's a closed live stream where we will spend at least 10 minutes on your own personal chart and what the fuck December means for that, okay? If you want a short little reading about what this Scorpio energy means, you can book that through my website as well. Otherwise, as always, I fucking advise you to get a full birth chart reading so that you can understand your shit, especially right now. If you just want to get a shadow reading, get that, okay? But you need to understand your darkness in this energy to best be able to use it as positive, okay? So fucking happy Scorpio new moon, happy rebirth day, and yeah, do not be afraid to walk into the shadow over these days. That's where we need to be. Stay weird.